Hello Year 5 and 6, it's Miss Dyer here with the first video in our RE learning journey for this half term. You can see that our question we will be focusing on and answering is, what is Hinduism? Now in the next 2 weeks you're going to need to do all of your work in one place please. Now that could be the yellow exercise book that you took home, or it could be an exercise book that another exercise book that you have at home. But wherever you choose to do it, please do all of your RE work in one place. Now, if you've run out of room in your exercise book or you've misplaced it over half term, don't worry, just get in touch with your class teacher and they'll be able to organise a new one for you to collect from school. You're also going to need your pencil, a ruler and a red pen or a different colour pen for your underlining. Okay, and later on today you may even decide that you need some colouring pencils and bits and bobs like that, but they're not essential, okay? So don't worry if you haven't got those. Now, by the end of next week, you'll be able to show your knowledge on these 5 learning objectives. So these are the 5 things that we're going to be learning about in the next 2 weeks. You'll be able to explain the main beliefs of Hinduism, explain which places are special to Hindus and why. You'll be able to name and describe some special Hindu festivals. You'll be able to explain why Hindus have multiple holy books. And you'll be able to name and explain the meanings of some Hindu symbols. So, if you can start then Year 6 and Year 5, by opening up your book to a nice clean page, and then you're going to write in the title, What is Hinduism? And today's long date. Now you'll notice that the title starts with a capital letter. Hinduism always has a capital letter as it's the name of a religion, and the question ends with a question mark. So please do your best to copy that accurately, Years 5 and 6, and really take your time to check the spelling of Hinduism. And as always, and you'll know, Monday and February are proper nouns, so they too need capital letters. And your long date will also need to be underlined with your red pen and a ruler. Okay, so if you pause the video now, Year 5 and 6, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so your first task then, and this will take you about 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most. Okay, you're going to be thinking about what do you already know about Hinduism and what questions do you have? And you're going to present this in a table in your book. Now the easiest way to draw a table in your book is in the following way. If you take your ruler and your pencil and you draw a vertical line down the middle of your page, and then a horizontal line, and I would leave maybe 3 or 4 lines, do a horizontal line across the top. Then on the left hand side you can write the heading what I already know, and on the right hand side questions I have and what I'd like to know more about. Okay, so if I were you Year 5 and 6, I'd pause the video now and I'd draw your table in and I'd write the headings in, and then we can explore some of the things that you could write in your table together in a moment. So if you pause the video now then please. Okay, hopefully you've got your table drawn then Year 5 and 6. So on the left hand side we're listing what we already know. Okay, now something that you might know, you might not, it doesn't matter if you don't panic. Hindus believe in one God, and you may remember the name of the God. Hindus are vegetarian. You may know some of the Hindu festivals that are celebrated throughout the year. So on the left hand side it's what I already know, and on the right hand side you're going to list questions that you have or things you'd like to know more about. So for example, a question you may have is, how do Hindus worship their God? Do Hindus have rules to live their lives by? What festivals do Hindus celebrate? Now, I'm sure you've got many more questions, much more interesting than mine, and I'm sure you already know lots about Hinduism. So do make sure you take your time, like I say, 10-15 minutes to really think carefully about this table. If you're writing a question, then it ends in a question mark. If you're using the word Hindu or Hinduism, remember it's a proper noun, so it has a capital letter. And if you make reference to another religion, you need to give that one a capital letter as well, please. Okay, so if you pause the video now, then year 5 and 6, and when you've created your table, come back to the video. Okay, welcome back everybody. Hopefully you've just spent about 10-15 minutes creating your table. Now, you will be coming back to this table in our last lesson. So do make sure that you have spent a good 10-15 minutes recording your knowledge and your questions, okay? Because otherwise you're really going to struggle on that last Friday or in that last week when I ask you to come back and revisit your table. So some of you might want to pause the video and have another look. Some of you might be feeling, yeah, I'm ready to move on. So underneath your table then, we're going to record our learning objective or our learning focus for today. I can explain the main beliefs in Hinduism. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So when you record this in your book, you'll remember year 5 and 6, we start with LO or learning objective, followed by a colon. I can explain the main beliefs in Hinduism. Again, Hinduism has a capital letter, so please copy that carefully and then underline it with your red pen and a ruler. Pause the video now, then year 5 and 6, and come back when you're ready. Okay, so in order to be able to explain the main beliefs, we're going to be thinking about these two things today. We're going to name the main Hindu deities and explain their qualities. Don't worry if you don't know what a deity is, you will by the end of the lesson. And we're going to be able to explain the main beliefs that Hindus share. Okay, now before we go any further, I've got a quick activity for you just to get your thinking cap, your brain whirring. How many different ways can you think of to greet another person? So for example, good morning, hello, bonjour, salut. Okay, so think about actions. Do we greet each other with a hug or a kiss on the cheek? Or sometimes we shake each other's hands. Do you know of any different languages, ways to greet each other using a different language? Or perhaps you know about a culture where they greet each other differently. Now I'm just going to ask you to take 30 seconds, year 5 and 6. How many different ways can you think of to greet another person? Okay, welcome back then. Hopefully you've got some ideas in your mind. Now, Hinduism is a religion that is mainly practiced in India. It is practiced all over the world, but the main area that it's practiced is India and Asia. Okay, and if you were to visit India or Asia, a common way to greet another person is to put your hands together, and you can see in the pictures here, you put your hands together so your palms are touching and the tips of your fingers are touching. And it's really important, if you're going to do it accurately, that those points are touching. And then you would bring your hands to either to your chest or up to your face. And the greeting is Namaste. And Namaste is said with a little bow, and how low you bow depends on who you're greeting and their sort of status. So if you're greeting an elder, somebody that you need to show lots of respect for, you'd say Namaste and bow a little lower or a little deeper. If you're greeting a friend, you probably wouldn't need to bow as low. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Namaste and why it's an important greeting and why Hindus believe that touching the palms and the tips of the fingers is important, there's a great YouTube clip that you can watch here in your own time. Okay, so let's move on then. That was just something just to get our brains working. So Before we go any further, I'm going to give you a little short introduction into Hinduism. Now, I'm going to apologise now, Year 5 and 6, because the next little bit of the video is going to be me talking for a little while, because I'm going to do a little bit of teaching now, and you might decide that at certain points you just want to pause the video and read what's on the slides. That's fine if you want to, but I do advise that you do your best to listen as best as you can. But I do apologise that it's a little bit long. We wouldn't normally do it like this in school, but as we're not all together, it's really hard to talk and research and explore this information together. So I'm afraid I've just got to sort of sit here and deliver it to you. So Hinduism then is over 4,000 years old, and it's incredibly unique among the main world religions in that it doesn't have a founder, so it doesn't have somebody that started the religion. Okay, and in fact, its origins, or where it started, is around the river, the Indus River, which flows through Asia and South Asia. Okay, and it actually overlaps different borders into different countries here. Okay, so people that were living along this river had lots of beliefs and traditions and cultures that have merged together to become Hinduism. So there's no one way to be a Hindu, okay, because it is a religion that's come together out of many different traditions, practices and beliefs. Okay. For many Hindus, Hinduism is not about following a set of beliefs, but it is about living your life in a certain way and practicing what you believe in. So there are 4 things that Hindus believe but practice throughout their daily life. And we're going to explore those 4 things now. Now remember, for every Hindu, these 4 things will be very different. They won't be exactly the same because it is a tradition and a belief that has come from lots of different places. Now, the trickiest one to understand is the idea of truth being eternal. So Hindus believe that they should pursue, that means find out, knowledge and the understanding of truth. Okay. They believe that being true is the only reality. Now that could be true to themselves, that could be true to other people, that's true to their life. Truth has lots of different elements to it, but Hindus believe that they should be true for all of time. So eternity is all of time. Okay, now that's a really tricky concept to get your head around Year 5 and 6, and it's one that if we were at school we'd spend a long time unpicking and trying to understand. Now unfortunately it's a really hard thing to do in this video because I can't answer your questions or support you in what you're not understanding. So instead what I'm going to suggest is, if you're finding that a little bit tricky, that you do a little bit of research about it, and I've got some good pages in a moment, or you ask your class teacher a little bit about it at your next catch-up. Okay, so one of the main beliefs then is about truth being eternal. Another main belief that all Hindus share is Dharma. Now, if I was to say to a Hindu, what is Dharma? Most Hindus would see Dharma as a code or a way of leading one's life. Okay, now Dharma is the way that a Hindu lives their life, and Hindus believe that there are right and wrong ways to behave. So if you follow the right behaviour, so that's following moral codes, not just doing what you feel like when you feel like doing it, okay, and it's also about taking your duties seriously, then you can do the right thing at all times. And Hindus live their daily life by doing the right thing. So that means the right thing by their religion, that means following the right moral practices, and they also have to take their duties very seriously. Now you might be thinking, what's a duty? Okay, now throughout a Hindu's life there will be all sorts of different duties. Okay, so if you're a Hindu at school, then a pupil's dharma or duty would be to work hard at school. If we're thinking about a parent, and if that parent was a Hindu, their dharma is to raise and support their family. So their duty is to raise and support their family in the right way. If we think about a police officer, the dharma of a police officer would be to protect others. So at different stages of a Hindu's life, their dharma or duties would change. But it is always everyone's duty to be kind, honest and religious, and to be a good person in society. Now, Hindus believe that if they follow their dharma or their duty, they'll live a happy and rewarding life. However, if they don't follow their dharma or their duty, it's called an adharma, and that it's wrong. And that can have repercussions, which leads us into the next two main beliefs, and they sort of work together. Now, reincarnation. So Hindus believe in reincarnation. And reincarnation is the belief that the soul is eternal. So that means it's never ending. And that Hindus live many lifetimes. Sorry, the soul, not Hindus, the soul lives many lifetimes. And that can be in one body or another body over and over again. Sometimes the soul can be born into a human body, sometimes into an animal body or a plant body. Okay, Hindus believe that all forms of life contain a soul, and all souls have a chance to experience life in different forms. Now, you can see on this slide here that there is a cycle of birth, life, death and rebirth, and this cycle is called samsara. So when a person dies, they are then reborn as another living thing, and this cycle, samsara, can go on for thousands of lifetimes. But it is governed by something called karma. So Hindus believe in karma. And this is the idea that for every action, there is a reaction or a consequence. Okay, so if you are a kind and considerate person, you'll have good karma. However, if you're selfish, then you'll have bad karma. And karma affects your reincarnation. So if you've lived, or if you think about your present life, okay, so a Hindu's present life, how they're living now, will affect what happens to their soul. It will affect where they are incarnated. So Hindus will try to live their life in a way that will cause each of their next lives to be better than the life before. So for example, a Hindu would probably want to stay as a human, so will try their very best when in their human soul to live the best life they can so that they don't become something such as a plant. Okay, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to leave this cycle to become one with the God. Okay, and what you'll see here is that once they've left this cycle, so once they've achieved the rebirth, this is called moksha. Now, is the aim of a Hindu to become one with their God? Now, until moksha is achieved, so until the Hindu becomes one with their God, they will be repeatedly incarnated. Now, you might be thinking, well, what have they got to do to become one with their God? Now, they have to seek the truth through yoga, meditation and devotion to God. And of course, they have to achieve their dharmas or their duties. And they have to work selflessly for the good of their society. Okay, you'll remember that they believe that for every action there is a reaction. So for good will always equal good. Okay, so that was a lot of information there, year 5 and 6. I've been talking for about 10 minutes. So if you do need to pause the video now and take a little break, that's understandable. Okay, if something's interested you that I've just been talking about, there are some great videos which are really, really useful, and I do advise that you watch them, whether that's today or tomorrow. Do your best at least to have a look at the top 3 because they are fantastic sources of support. Okay, so today then you've got a choice of 3 activities. And it doesn't matter which one you choose, you have your choice, but they need to be completed in your exercise book. So you've got your learning objective at the top of your page, and then underneath you can do the following. So you could create a matching card game at home. I'll explain what that looks like in a minute. You could create a Hindu poster or leaflet. Again, I'll explain what that looks like in a moment. Or you can do a written explanation. Now, whichever one you choose is up to you. Now, number 3 is probably the sort of simplest to do in your book, and you won't need any other things to be able to do it other than this presentation and perhaps having a watch of the things that I suggested before. So if you're a little bit short of time, or you know that you're working on your own and that you need to use the video, okay, then number 3 is probably your best bet. If you've got a little bit more time and you want to be a little bit more creative, then number 1 or 2 are good options to go for. So number 1 then is about creating a card game. So what you would do is you design and create your own cards, and they might look a little bit like this. So you'd have a card with the name of one of the 4 beliefs, and then you'd have a little short explanation on a different card, and you'd create these for each of the 4 main beliefs. Then you'd cut your cards out and then play a matching game with somebody at home. And then when you finish playing your matching game, you could put your cards in your book, you could glue them in matched up correctly, or with a paper clip, however you choose, year 5 and 6. But I'd like to see those cards in your book, please, when you've finished with them. So let's have a quick look at an example. Let's have a look at this one. According to this belief, it is necessary to do the right thing at all times. Okay, so that's Dharma, isn't it? Doing the right thing at all times. So if I was playing a game, I'd hope to be able to match those 2 up. Okay, so your second option is to create a poster or a leaflet. For this, you'll need to design and create your poster or leaflet, which explains the main beliefs of Hindus. So you'll need to have all 4 beliefs on there. So you'll need to have something about truth being eternal. You'll need to have a section about Dharma, a section about reincarnation, and a section about moksha. Okay, and then you're using your own words, your own pictures. You'll need to create your leaflet or poster. And then the last option is to write an explanation using your own words for each of the main 4 beliefs. So if you were going to do this, I'd start by writing a subheading in your book. You could start with truth is eternal. I'd write that in my book. I'd underline it with my pencil or my pen, and then I'd write my short explanation underneath. Then I would do the same for Dharma, reincarnation and moksha. Okay, year 5 and 6. So I'm going to pause on this slide now because I think this is probably the one that is going to help you the most with getting started, because you'll need to know what the 4 main beliefs are. If you need any help at all, don't be afraid to send me a message on Class Dojo or get in contact with your class teacher. I hope you really enjoy creating your cards or designing your poster or writing your explanations for today. Have a lovely day, everybody, and I will see you very soon.